Welcome back. The judges are still deliberating down the hall, as you might suspect. So we're going to launch into the Where Are They Now segment that Ann Scott was talking about this morning that she liked so much last year when we just did little 1-minute updates from a couple of the teams, that we've created a whole 50-minute segment here where we're going to hear from 5 teams, 10 minutes each, on what's happened since they won seed funding either 2 years ago or last year in the business plan competition. And the first team we're going to hear from was our first place winner in 2010, just 2 years ago, HealtheWorks. I'd like to welcome Dave and Mo and Arnie. Exactly.
All right, there we go. Hi, guys. Everybody have a good break. We're all stretched out. Okay. Thanks for having us back. We're very excited to be back here. Like John said, Arnie, Dave, Mo, we are HealtheWorks. We were the prize winners 2 years ago. So by day, myself and Mo were both pediatric emergency doctors. And what HealtheWorks is, if you remember, if anyone was here back when we did this, we convert regular discharge written patient information into an electronic medium. So when you receive information from your physician that says you have a particular diagnosis or this is what this so-and-so means, we convert this into something electronic. So we design, create, and deliver a service where we can stream video education to patients in any number of settings. This is Christina. She's our 4th partner. She's not here today because she's working in the emergency department. And we're excited to be back here and tell you a little bit about our progress. We've created about 100 of these different video modules. We have a medical artist, and we shoot live demos. We have on-screen text. We do this in English and in Spanish, and we stream these to any device, so iPhones, iPads, Droids, etc. Oops. And we've made a fair amount of progress in the past 2 years. So this is very short. I'm just going to give you a few kind of quick synopsis. But I know everybody, it's show me the money. What have you guys done? How much have you grown? So we've done very well from a grant perspective. That this concept and this technology has been very well received in the grant world. So we've received about $310,000 in grant support. We're NIH funded. We've received funding from the DC Department of Health, from Children's Hospital, and from a few other small grantors. And then we started to develop some client relationships and sales revenue. So we've licensed some of our video content to a few providers, and we've developed relationships with several clients in the local community that use our service to deliver these focused video modules for patient education. So it's pretty neat. We've developed partnerships with several companies. Arnie is the CEO of Info2 Extreme, which does a lot of our health information technology work. And Interface Media Group in DuPont Circle does a lot of our video production. Aaron Fox does our legal work. And we have a medical artist that does a lot of our animations that are all kind of affiliated and partnered with our company. And we've expanded our employees. We had 3 founding members. We added Arnie as a 4th. We've also added a market research manager, and we took on a GW intern this spring. So that's sort of where we stand and where we've gone. Our next big steps are we're getting this out into the community, and we're still trying to learn exactly what every different client needs. And we've learned that different people want different things, and we're trying to cater the product as best we can to different product markets. So we're getting a little more hands-on market research. We're further developing our project. We're trying to grow more locally, and for any angels and VCs in the audience, our next step is, of course, to get more funding and to scale the product nationally. And that's it. Thank you, guys, for this opportunity.
Well, I think we probably have some people here who would like to ask questions.
Sure.
So if you can stick around for just a couple of minutes, why don't we throw it open to the floor? If anyone has questions about how these guys have done it or what they've done. Ed, in the back.
Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Hey, Ed, how are you?
What happened to the initial...
What happened to the initial $20,000 they won?
No, to the initial focus. How did you change it?
What happened to the initial focus? How did the business change?
I think the focus is the same. There were more barriers than we expected, and we've had a longer time developing some of our technology platform than we expected. Our video development has been better, and our reception from grantors has been better than we expected. But also, I think the value added to clients we've noticed was very different in all the different market segments.
The reason I asked is so some of the other folks learn from it that you might have to massage your business plan a little bit once you launch.
So our business plan has been rewritten about 35 times for all the people in the room, and I think that's part of the process, and we've learned from it, and it's been helpful.
Who else would like to throw a question to these gentlemen? Yeah.
Did I catch that that two of you are still working as doctors alongside HealtheWorks?
Correct. It's difficult, and I think it's one of the biggest limitations that none of us are full-time at the company. So one of the tricky parts about being a doctor is you give up about half your life becoming that role, and to give it up and giving it up is difficult. So one of our big next steps is to hire someone that can be a full-time chief operating officer. But being in the emergency department, we have a little more opportunity for something like this. We don't have patients calling us at night. We work our shift and then we leave. We have a limited amount of hours we're actually there. So, and both Mo and I and Christina are all relatively part-time at the hospital. So we spend about half our time doing hospital work and half our time doing this. So we can do it. It's just slower than we'd like.
Yeah, I would also add that we are really flexible. We work probably 100, 120 hours a week sometimes. But the good news is the emergency department work is such that you schedule your shifts, and you can schedule yourself 8 or 9 days off in a row. So you can basically dedicate that time to working for HealtheWorks. If we were almost any other kind of physician, it would be very difficult for us to be that closely involved with the process. This is just a luxury that we have, where, as Dave was saying, doing this kind of shift work where we just do our obligation. These are 8-hour shifts. We go do it, and then maybe we come home, get something to eat, and just get right on to working for HealtheWorks.
The hardest place to be an ER doctor is Denver because everybody wants to do their shift and then go skiing for 3 days.
Do you guys foresee a time when you would leave the emergency department and go full-time with HealtheWorks? And if so, how far out would that be?
I don't know if any of us would fully leave emergency medicine, but I think we could always go into a very limited capacity where we're doing just teaching or doing one shift every 2 weeks. I think there's a lot of opportunity to be clinically involved and be clinically relevant, but not have that be your primary job.
Mm-hmm. And in fact,
that's all of our goals.
You probably want to remain clinically involved. I mean, that's part of the formula for success.
And I think, yeah, exactly. And I think you still want to maintain those networks and maintain your skills.
Yeah, we're special creatures. We kind of need our fix from the emergency department. It may be just once a month, but it's completely leaving it behind would be very difficult. We have spent several years kind of getting to this point. That is not to say that if HealtheWorks needs us for more time than we're giving it, that we're not going to be available for it. It's just like we were saying before, we do have a ton of flexibility with this kind of job.
Ed, what were you going to say?
I got another quick question. For your IT guy, how difficult has it been to interface with the institutions?
How difficult has it been to interface with the institutions? Yeah.
Do you, am I on?
Yeah.
Do you mean how difficult is it to interface with their internal systems, or so the technology that we've developed doesn't require that. You know, the whole system is web-based, so from the discharge nurse going in and creating a discharge instruction for a patient, they can do that. There we go. They can do that from any device that can get onto the web. And the delivery to the patient goes straight to the patient to whatever device they have. So at this point, we don't actually have to do any interface with any internal hospital databases, although the systems are easily available to do that time, but we haven't had a requirement to do that.
So their IT departments have embraced you?
We actually we try to separate ourselves from their IT department as much as possible because it's incredibly difficult. We did that on purpose. We kind of anticipate more people are going to go to pediatrics and less teachers.
But the answer is that they would embrace us. They actually have approached us a couple of times about what is it that you guys are doing. We are just choosing to have a separate platform at this time. There is no animosity or anything with our internal IT within the hospital that would prevent us from, if one day needed to be integrated, that would be an issue at all.
A question over on the left.
To what extent does your training model reflect kind of the orthodox medical interest from the institutional interest, and to what extent do you reflect the patient's interest? So if certain pharmaceuticals are prescribed, are you educating them about side effects? When certain treatments are prescribed, are you educating them about the downside risk? And what kind of liability do you enter into by being held accountable for how your training influences an outcome or a bad outcome?
I can take that if you want. So basically the first concept here is standard of care and evidence-based medicine. Everything that we actually, Dave, Christina, and myself, we actually script the language ourselves. And we exactly use the kind of language we would use when we're actually speaking to the families when they're getting discharged from the ER. The intention for this is for patients to be able to take better care of themselves when they leave the emergency room and go home. This is aftercare. So we're trying to take the burden of educating patients from the busy emergency department where we have 400 patients a day sometimes, and we have maybe 30 seconds to go over stuff with them. We want to take the burden away from that moment and take it to their home where they can watch these videos at the luxury of their time. Everything that's being presented is grade appropriate. We're actually writing this language in the 4th to 5th reading level, grade reading level, so that it's pretty much understandable. It's also visual, but it basically does the message of what we want to do on a piece of paper, for example. So any kind of liability coming from that would be no more than the liability that a physician has telling a patient in person what to do. We don't really at this moment get involved with pharmaceuticals and side effects. That's not something we've ventured into. This is more about education. It's improving patient access to health information so that they are more empowered to take better care of themselves so they don't keep coming back to the ER for something that they know is an ongoing process. Like, a child has been vomiting. They know 6 hours from now they're still going to be vomiting. There's no point in coming back. This is going to last 7 to 10 days, and they need to do hand washing, this and that. And that's kind of what the focus is. So I personally don't see liability as a big issue. Dave, if you have anything.
We have disclaimers all over the place.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming back. Thank you. Great. Good to see you. Take this. The next update will be from a company called Scent Shots, which launched shortly after they took the second place prize 2 years ago in 2010.
Well, thank you for having us back. It's really great to be back and be able to see all the teams who are presenting this year and be kind of on the other side of things. So as you mentioned, I'm Ray, and that's James, and we're the co-founders of Scent Shots. And a little background into who we are. We started with 2 consumer product lines, Thin Scent and Energy Scent. 2 products for the consumers for energy that encompasses mental alertness, enhanced athletic performance, as well as Thin Scent for weight loss to help curb your appetite and limit portion sizes. So since then, that's where we were. Where we are now is that we're developing a 3rd product line for consumers, a relaxation scent, to help people relax, to help people fall asleep at night. We've gotten positive feedback from tons of people. People are saying, yes, I use essential oils in different forms. I sprinkle it on my pillow. I do different things to get that effect. And I have the packaging with me. So we have the portable packaging that we've been using for our products. You take it anywhere. It's personal. You're the only one who smells it. It's not a candle. It's not a perfume. Can you demo it? Some of these people have never seen.
We could circulate that around
how
the
your
room
product
as well.
works.
So this is the product. There's a little hole on the back, and it's resealable. There's a sticker that covers it. So you lift up the sticker, squeeze the package, and you smell it. And that's how you use it. So you can take it anywhere. James has flown with it, go through airport security. If you're on airplanes, you can take it. If you're anxious about flying, you can use it on the plane.
Yeah, one of the things I'll just add on that in terms of being a product that could be used traveling long-haul flights. I mean, I fly a lot, so obviously you can't take on liquids on aircraft. So I had a conversation with the regional director for Air China Airlines 2 weeks ago. And one of the things, because of the packaging, we can co-brand that with Air China. I'm in early stage discussions with British Airways. And so it serves as a branding mechanism as well as a relevant product for passengers. So again, that product in itself lends itself to the portableness and can be taken anywhere, any time.
Yeah, and then there are many extensions from this, from developing this relaxation scent. Relaxation is needed all over the place. There are studies that show that certain scents are beneficial in healthcare settings, whether it's in reducing the amount of pain medication that patients need or the amount of sedation patients require before procedures. So that's, for me, I'm a third-year medical student. For me, that's very cool, very interesting. So we're looking at now, towards the future, scenting entire environments. And we have access to the technology to do that, to scent up to 500,000 square feet of space. So we're looking at scenting healthcare environments, which James will speak more about, and scent branding that ties into scenting environments. We can create unique scents for a particular brand. For instance, Tavern on the Green. We have a signed letter of intent from them to create a unique scent for their brand to be used internationally in their restaurants, as well as to create scents, personalized scents for men, for women, also Tavern on the Green scents. So there's a lot of interest all over the place. Scent is starting to be used in entertainment. We're going to be creating a scent experience for a play that's going to be put on in New York to really involve the audience and the actors, the actresses in an entire experience. So we really see ourselves as being, kind of the one-stop shop for scent. You come to us with your scent needs, and we'll provide an experience for you.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more on what Ray had said, that when we started this project 2 years ago, yes, we had our two primary products, but what we realized that you can't be a one-trick pony. And so with that being said, we need to diversify our business model. So the first thing that we extended in terms of scenting environments. So right now we have a strategic alliance where we Scent Shots has taken office on 23rd Street, which we will have 5,000 square feet, which we will scent that entire environment, 5,000 square feet of any type of scent. So that place right now has about 1,200 architects that go through the design center every year. So architects, end users, designers, brand managers, so on and so forth, will be able to go into that design studio and actually experience the scent itself. So that is scenting for environments. Our strategic manufacturer, the company that makes the technology, is based out of Miami. They've scented Carnival Cruise Lines. They've scented Lexus. They've scented casinos out in Vegas. So again, scent environments, that is a $100 million category. Right now, we've just scratched the surface, pardon the pun, but and we see where this is going, because one of our other partners is Ogilvy and Mather, the big ad agency. Right now, from a branding and a marketing perspective, it's the last frontier in terms of marketing, because when you think about a brand, you have to have an association to that. And so what scent does, it takes you back to a time and place. And so with that being said, that's why the scent is such an important aspect as it relates to marketing and branding. As Ray said, we also have the consent from the chairman and CEO for Tavern on the Green. Tavern on the Green is relaunching across the world. We are creating the scent for the restaurants, as well as creating the theme scents. And finally, in terms of healthcare, we also have one of our other partners is NextGen. It's the Next Generation Patient Care Room Initiative. It's a patient care room of the future. It's backed by the DoD. And we are actually going to be looking at the use of scent in a research-based, how that impacts the patient as well as the caregiver and that particular environment, from radiology to oncology to the patient care experience. So again, the lessons we've learned is don't be a one-trick pony, diversify yourself. Again, try to shore up alliances that can help accelerate the growth and the market penetration much quicker. And that's one thing I've done in the last 2 years. And so in the next round of capital, instead of that being sunk into spending $400,000 for a showroom, we're already there. So all the capital we're raising right now is just for growth. So,
very good.
So that's where we're at.
Very good. I think we have time for one question.
One, maybe two.
Okay. Anybody here into aromatherapy?
A more general question. In the absence of the business plan competition, is this something you were already pursuing, would have pursued? Can you speak to just your experiences with the business plan competition?
I mean, it's something that we were, it was more ideas. We were pursuing the ideas. We were like, oh, this would be really great. But the business plan competition really let us solidify things. We worked hard on the business plan, the executive summary. We really that's when everything came together. And we had some seed capital really kickstart things that provided the capital to order product from the manufacturer. And then now we have product. So that really helped a lot with that and getting us started.
Great. Question over here.
So you guys are given rather unconventional advice of not being a one-trick pony.
Right.
And the general advice is get one of your sort of legs of the business model still very solid before growing the next one. How did it impact you in terms of time commitments and resource commitments when you decided to diversify other directions of your business?
Those were parallel strategies. Again, for me, it didn't really dilute the core business, but I realized as an extension in those other verticals were important to solidify before, to attract the right type of investors.
Yeah, and I mean, and the constant thing is scent. If I have the dream scent, the relaxation scent, it's still the same scent. It's the same, science-backed aromatherapy for a specific benefit. It's just how you're providing the scent that varies. Whether it's in our personalized package or if you're scenting an entire room. It's for me, it's the same principle. It's just
Great. Thank you very much for
Thanks,
taking
everybody.
time to come back and see us.
thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ray. James. The next presenter will be Anthony Shop with what is now known as Driversuite. Tom, good to see you.
It's good to see you.
We'll give you two mics. By the way, Driversuite was the first place winner last year, just a year ago.
Great. Okay, thanks. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Driversuite, but I hope you'll indulge us. I don't want to get hit there. And just let us start by telling you how thankful we are. First of all, we're really thankful we didn't have to compete this year because we got to watch a lot of the presentations, and they're awesome. So this is great. This is getting better every year, and it's fantastic. People, when we mention the business plan competition, usually say, oh, it's so awesome, you won some money. And we always have to say, that's great, but it's really the icing on the cake because throughout the process, we got excellent feedback. We got connected to mentors this year and last year. We had Michael Grove, our mentor, our main mentor through the program, Jim and Denitsa and the judges and everything, other peers. So all of that was so great, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this is an excellent program and that it was really helpful, and we appreciate it. I also want to say that this business plan competition isn't just supporting the specific businesses that you learn about. One of the things we figured over the last year is that we're working on a few things. Thomas and I own a digital agency called Social Driver based here in D.C., and last year at this time, we were a two-person operation, and now we just added up the other day with our consultants and our interns and our full-time staff that we now have. We're at almost 20 people, and a lot of that success has been because of resources that we've been connected to through this. So that's great. We also helped to start District.io, an incubator and co-working space that's now, we have a partnership with GW. Two of the teams who competed this year come work from our space, and we connect with them, and so that was an outgrowth of this competition. So there's really cool stuff happening here at GW, and we want to say thank you. Well, at that point, you probably are curious, okay, so what's happening with Driversuite and the specific product? So I'm going to turn it over to Thomas, who's going to tell us about what's happened over the last year.
All right, so everybody wants to know how much money we made since last year, right? Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you. That's a secret. That's the great thing about having a privately owned company. You don't have to disclose everything. But, I want to give you a reminder just really fast about some of the stuff that Driversuite does. So we have a product called Dealer Prints, and it creates branded brochures from vehicle inventories at car dealerships. And what we do is we capture a lead when we process that, when we create that brochure. And what that ends up doing down through our proprietary system is helps car dealerships sell their inventory faster. It helps them turn their inventory faster. So that was our value proposition, and that's the product that we built. So after we won the business plan competition, we actually went back and we tested some of those things. We already had a product that was in some dealerships, but we went and we got into a couple more dealership lots, and we just started testing some of those assumptions even more. And one of the things we found out was we needed to more closely integrate with those dealership systems. And so we almost completely threw away our first version of the product, and we built the second release from the ground up. And we had some really, I think, unique experiences along the way. And one of the things that we ended up doing was integrating with one particular car dealership's website. And we found out very quickly that we were getting not just like double or triple the amount of customer leads that we were before, but significantly more customer leads by being integrated directly into their website. And the great things about these customer leads was many of them were after hours. So like, 3 in the morning, 1 in the morning. And that's a time when those lots aren't open. And I know there's somebody in this room that owns car dealerships over there. And he can tell you if their car dealership's not open, it's really hard to get leads, right? So this was a big win, and we realized that pretty quickly. The other thing that we realized was, on web forms, this is one of the things we're worried about, was data integrity. So when customers, you've probably done this before, whenever you go to a website form and ask you for your email address or your phone number, you put in like John Smith at, whyareyouaskingme.com. And so we looked through the data through bounce rates on emails and through the phone numbers that were entered, and what we found is like between 80 and 85% of the leads we were getting through the website, which were significantly more than we were getting beforehand, were actually legitimate, real leads. And so that was huge too. So then we rolled that out to all the dealerships that are working with us. And what we found is in the last 2 months since we've done that, we've collected more customer leads than the entire first year that it was up and running. So it's a huge value proposition to the customers we're working with. And so we do still have a limited amount of car dealerships we're working with because we still are viewing this kind of experimental and different things. But it's going well, and we're actually getting ready to take even a bigger chunk on. A couple things that we've learned along the way, other than things Anthony pointed out, was so all of us kind of on our team, the MBA, the computer geek, and the car dealer. So the car dealer owns the car dealerships, right? He owns a chain of car dealerships. The MBA runs our digital agency and helped found District.io, and I'm doing all this technical stuff at Social Driver. And we found out it's really hard to have 3 people as like co-CEOs of the group. And the other thing we found was it's really hard to grow a new business that's not quite as lucrative yet when you have very lucrative other businesses. And so that was very difficult challenge. That was one of the things that took us a while after the business plan competition last year to sort out. But through mentorships and through our network of people who have done similar things, we've been able to kind of work through that, and now we're making progress once again. Yeah. So that's my update. Do you have anything else, Anthony?
I think if we have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them, and otherwise we can.
Great. Let's throw it open to the floor. Who has a question?
It's okay if they don't.
So you can move from here to here, but
Yeah.
well, yeah, I'll throw a softball. If you can't disclose the number, the amount of sales, can you say how many customers you've signed on since last year?
We're not disclosing that right now, but I'll tell you that things are going really well, and we're still mainly focused in the Kansas City Midwest area, and we're using our regional network there to really get good, solid customers, and before we kind of expand out so that we can have the solid case studies that we talked about in our plan last year.
And what I'll add to that is we have a really strong leads pipeline of people who've approached us and want to use it. We have taken an approach that some folks we talk to, mentors and others, disagree with, but we just have to know what's right for us, and that's a lesson that we tell everybody. And we really want to focus on relationships and customer service and keep the pool limited enough that we can make because we're making major changes to the product right now before we expand to the other people who've acquired, because our relationships aren't as strong there, and if they try it and things aren't working right, probably be hard to get them back as a customer again. So that's different from the way some folks might.
Yeah. The auto industry has really high turnover when it comes to systems, and customer service is something that's very valued. one of our friends is the founder of Vin Solutions, which is a major system in the auto dealership world. And he grew that way too, through personal connections. And that's one of the things that differentiates Vin Solutions is they grew really kind of slowly at first, but they built the relationships that lasted. I think one last thing that we kind of realized around that idea we got a lot of mentorship advice was we got offers and so on to do investment and so on. But Social Driver, our other company, is a closely held company. We own it. And Danny's dealerships, Danny and some of his family members own the entire thing. And we just decided, our plan said we were going to try to seek investment, but we just decided we were going to put the investment in ourselves. And so we're just going to keep it with the three owners. Yep.
Sounds like the product is really evolving still.
It is, yeah.
At what point do you foresee sort of locking it so you can really go out with confidence and make more installations and what are now prospects?
I think the core of it now is locked in. But we are experimenting with a couple of things, but those are just at like 1 or 2 lots. We'll experiment with those new things, and then we'll decide if we're going to roll that up into the actual offering. So right now, the core offering, I think, is solidified now that over the last couple of months, especially. Early this year, I think now it's all finished off. We know what the offering is. So.
Great. We have time for one more quick one.
That's the guy who owns the car dealerships.
Thomas, can you share with us the cost of your product?
Yeah, it ranges in kind of the $400 to $600 range. It depends how big your inventory is on a monthly basis. Yeah, and but there's a couple of factors that go in there. How big is your inventory? How many people are going to exactly? And then if you're a multiple lot dealership, then the additional lots, of course, are
economies of scale.
Yeah, cheaper. So,
good.
Yep.
And I just got an email this morning. I don't know if I shared from one of the clients saying that they talked at their sales meeting today about how useful this product has been for them and how many leads it's generated. So we're getting excellent responses, and we're really excited about it.
Terrific.
Thomas, it's driversuite.com. Sign up today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Great. The next presenter is Ascend Air, the blimp commuter service that was Ryan Rice's company, placed number 4 out of 112 teams last year. Ryan, welcome back.
Thank you, John. It's great to be back here. I'm actually still a student here at GW in the Executive MBA program. Actually, we always have our classes in these 2 classrooms, so thanks, John, for booting us out for the day, because now we're stuck in the prison of the Ritz-Carlton Georgetown for the day having classes, so we're really roughing it. But so I'm glad to escape for a few minutes. Last year I presented Ascend Air along with Peter Buckley. Like John said, Ascend Air was a plan for a commuter blimp service. So a lot of you might not have a frame of reference here. Blimp, think of the Goodyear blimp. Everyone knows that, right? So who knew that a 50-mile-per-hour blimp could actually save you time compared to conventional ground transportation? Well, unfortunately, that's a testament of how bad traffic has gotten on the ground. So our plan last year was for the D.C. area. It's what we knew. It was what was familiar here. We actually got great feedback from the FAA. That was some arguments against this. The FAA said, our plan was, from an air traffic point of view, is feasible. Good feedback from the Department of Homeland Security. But the whole approval process was 13 different federal agencies that we were going to have to go through. So after the competition last year, we did another feasibility study and looked at some other cities. So we've actually pivoted now, and we have focused the plan towards the Los Angeles market. That market, that city has the worst traffic in the United States. And you don't have the federal regulations that you do here as far as the flight restricted zone that protects the D.C., Northern Virginia area. So the Los Angeles market, it's very exciting right now. We just finished a complete feasibility study on the Los Angeles market. We're refining our business plan for that market right now. The benefits of it are there's a lot of people. It's really focused towards people that have commute times of 90-plus minutes or more one way, which in that city there are lots of them. The airships that we are trying to use, they're only 12-passenger airships, but moving it to the Los Angeles market allows us to do some things like sightseeing flights, which is some great supplemental income that here in the D.C. area would not have been possible due to, if you're not doing strict transportation flights, they weren't going to have you flying any other type of operations. So that opens up a new avenue for revenue in the Los Angeles market. In addition to that, that actually helps us lower the price point for the commuter tickets. Last year was pretty high in our plan. Now it's looking like it's around the $75 round trip per passenger, and that's not, you're not paying any parking fees with that. You're not paying, you're getting a door-to-door service that gets you from your home door to your office door and takes care of you the entire way. That's one component of our business plan right now. I'd like to talk to you about a second component of it, one that we're really excited about, and that is for my partner, Peter Buckley, his design for a brand new 60-passenger airship. All right, that'll be one of the biggest airships that's been built in the modern era here. He holds a patent for the design. He's a veteran of the airship industry, 36 years as a pilot and an airship designer. So he's got a lot of experience doing this. So we're really excited about the opportunities for this. It's a very green form of transportation. It's equal or better than commuter rail. But from a land conservation point of view, it only uses it uses 90% less land than your conventional rail does. So it's really good for the environment. Projected price points for it right now, looking at in the $40 to $60 round trip ticket price. Give you a comparison. The commuter rail in the Los Angeles area, it's usually about a $20 round trip ticket. We're looking at some other pricing strategies though. Everything from retail development downtown in the downtown areas, that could benefit from having their retail areas around our landing site where we're going to get people in and out of every day, and also housing developers. So they can help to focus new developments around this form of transportation that can give them ease in and out of the city. So those are some things that we can potentially get that price point down a little lower. There are over 10 million Americans that have commute times of 60 or 90 minutes plus one way. So those are some pretty high commute times. With this type of service, using this type of airship, about a 75 mile per hour cruise speed, because you're not glued to the ground and you can land in a nice small landing area, 400-foot diameter circle, it's about the size of a decent-sized parking lot. Because of these things, we can cut people's commute times in half. All right, so that's really staggering. It's estimated that traffic congestion costs the economy about $90 billion a year to the U.S. economy. Reducing those people's commute times is going to save them anywhere from about 250 to 375 hours per year. That equals to about 3 weeks of paid vacation. So we think we have a really good value proposition. What we're really trying to sell here is time. It's really that simple. Our vision for Ascend Air and for this new airship is for it to really be a new layer in the world's transportation infrastructure. We think that there's a need for it. We think that there's room for it. We don't devalue what rail and conventional aircraft do, as well as automobiles. They're vital parts of transportation infrastructure, but we think there's a need for something else. So this is what we envision Ascend Air doing in the future. We see us in the long term expanding to 50 different cities worldwide. That's just right now where there's a high need for improved transportation. It's perfect for countries with underdeveloped infrastructure. It's phenomenal for countries that have a very high growth rate with their population. And we foresee this as being, we're still working on our financial projections. We foresee this with the right growth strategy as having the potential to be a multi-billion-dollar annual net income company. So The new airship is designed, but where we're at right now is we're trying to get to the point where we can go into full development. And then following the development of it, you go into the FAA certification phase. And then from there, you just go into your operations and actual development of more of those aircraft to get those flying. So I think that about sums it up of where we're at right now. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Exciting story. I'm sure we must have a question or two out there. We just, in the last few minutes we have here.
What's security like for a plane? Is it any less stringent than planes?
As far as pre-screening?
TSA.
For boarding? Right, that was one hang-up for the D.C. area as well, is we would have had to use TSA, so we'd have had to work out a contract with them. The benefit of when you're dealing with smaller operations in using multiple landing sites, you basically would not have to go through those same type of security checks. You'd be like a smaller, smaller air carrier. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back.
The judges are actually ready.
Good. We should have the last one. The last update we'll hear is from last year's second place team, Bookstore Genie. This is Farhan Daradia, who is the CEO of Bookstore Genie.
So I'm here less to give an update than I am here to acquire customers and to get some investors to write me some checks because we are raising lots of money. For Bookstore Genie, which is the lowest priced textbook rental vendor in the nation. Traditionally, students have gone to university bookstores and paid $100 for a textbook. And they've sold it back for $10 for a total cost of $90. 4 years ago, a company called Chegg came along and said, we'll rent you your books for half the cost as long as you return them at the end of the semester. We are offering that same process with a much lower price tag, over 30% cheaper. We're able to do this because we've built a technology platform that allows a student to rent a book from us for $58. Our platform turns around and purchases the textbook from one of our suppliers for $100, giving us a negative cash flow of $42. The vendor ships the book directly to the customer, and the customer, studies hard, holds it for the rest of the semester, and our platform sends them the necessary information to pack up the books and ship them directly to a Fulfillment by Amazon warehouse, which is run by Amazon.com. From here, the book can be liquidated for $90 for a positive cash flow of $48, or it can be re-rented to the next student customer for $52, giving us positive cash flow on the second rental. The traditional life cycle of a book is 7 semesters, so we should be able to make some money. The most important thing here is that we do not touch the textbook throughout the transaction. All we touch is the money. This market is going bananas. There are 20 million college students paying obscene prices for textbooks that are rapidly increasing, with the only cost growing faster being college tuition. More reason for students to save money with Bookstore Genie. This market was $7.4 billion in 2010. It's now $8 billion, and by the end of next year, it's supposed to be $9 billion. Let's talk about the kinds of books. New books account for 64% of all sales revenue. Once you adjust for the price differentials between new and used books, you find that the majority of students go used versus new. Textbook rentals have gone from non-existence 4 years ago to 15 to 20% of all student transactions. Then there's the bane of our existence, the ebooks. The ebooks are actually really expensive, much more expensive than renting from Chegg. Some of you guys, if you read the paper, have seen that Apple is actually being sued for price fixing with the publishers because they're trying to get every dime they can out of the students and make ridiculous amounts of money. 42% of students have actually used an ebook. and yet the market share of ebooks is only 2.6%. So this could mean a number of things. People don't like the ebook experience, they don't like they can't download it, they don't like the price, whatever. All that really matters is that ebooks aren't being used right now, and there's plenty of room for us to grow this business. The people who say ebooks are going to take over the world think that in 3 years, they're going to be around 5% of the market. If they double that, the market 3 years from now for paper textbooks will still be larger than it is today. Paper is here to stay. Then there's the on-campus college bookstores. In 2010, they controlled 49 plus 7% of the textbook market, 56. That number is down to 53, and by the end of the year, it's supposed to be under 50%. Why? Because college bookstores have always been the most expensive place to get your books, and people are trying to save money. So why is our model more efficient? So this company, Chegg, has a $30 million warehouse with hundreds of seasonal employees, and they run it year-round despite the fact that the student holds the book most of the year. That's ridiculous. Someone discovered that before I did. And they decided that they would use on-campus college bookstores to be their warehouses. This caused a massive sourcing problem because they pay the college bookstore use price instead of the prices from online vendors, meaning they spend way too much money to source their books. Chegg also has a sourcing problem because they rely heavily on new books instead of used books. This creates a latent inventory problem where Chegg cannot sell a book until they've rented it twice. Otherwise, they will lose money on that book. That means they have books sitting around in their warehouse that don't get rented the second time, and they just can't do anything with it. That is really inefficient. Book Renter has a far worse problem where all their books are scattered across over 1,000 college bookstores. And you can't possibly optimize having the exact number of books you need in every single store. It has to be in a central warehouse. So let's talk about this from the consumer side. For our pilot, we did $10,000 in revenue, and we had this in our cart. You could roll over that red button, and you could see the prices of our competitors. So you know that Bookstore Genie is the cheapest vendor out there. And even if we're not cheaper, we'll still show the price. Why not? This established us as the cost leader. Things we're going into are we've built an ebook platform that has found all of the out-of-copyright books that are available for free. Shakespeare, Heidegger, things like that. We are going to market that out to every professor that requires those books so that they can tell their students that they can just read it for free on Bookstore Genie rather than paying for it at the college bookstore. Additionally, we're working on identifying the deltas between the old edition and new edition of a textbook. Professor says you need to get 8th edition. Actually, if you go up to professor and ask them, they'll say 7th edition's okay. There are some professors in this room. Don't freak out. I know all of you won't say that, but many of you will because I've had this experience of my own. This will allow students to save even more money on books. And it will increase the number of times we can rent a book, which means we make more money. It's perfect. We're looking to raise $100,000 right now. We've already raised $40,000 of it. And we're using the money to continue to build and test. We've proven the profitability of our model, and right now we are looking for ways to lessen the working capital requirements so we do not have to raise $200 million in venture financing like a Chegg or $60 million like a Book Renter. So we have a couple strategies we're going to be testing next month, and since we have a lot of students here, I'm going to throw them out there for you guys. One of them is you just bought your books from the on-campus bookstore for $200 to $400, and you're most likely about to sell them on campus for like $40. How about you instead give us those books, and we will give you 70% of all revenue on the rental of that book. We'll rent it out to another student, and we'll send you the money from it. Alternatively, if that's too complicated and you want to keep it simple, just give us all the books that you got last semester, and next semester, we'll rent you all your books for free.
Wow. Free books next semester. I like it.
Yes, sir.
We've got 2 minutes for questions right here.
What are you going to use with the money? What do you need?
What are you going to use the money for?
To pay salaries and continue to build.
Salary aspect of it.
So salaries, servers, marketing. I mean, we have to test all the things we want to do. We got to like build videos and bring in people for that, things like that.
I really like the idea about the delta between editions. Have you considered, or what's the implications of international editions that are kind of cheap but sometimes significantly different?
International editions I haven't figured out yet because they were ruled, it was ruled that they were legal by the Supreme Court. And then like recently there was some pushback on that and they like changed their mind or something. And I just like don't want to get in trouble yet. So we'll get there. International editions are pretty awesome. I support that.
Last question.
How do you expect to have to actually let the students know about this? And you just told us, obviously, like I'm wondering where can I sign up so I can don't have to take the books next semester. But how are you going to market it to everybody so we can find out? Because obviously on campus, the bookstore is not going to want us to find out, and neither is like anybody from, I'm saying GW want us to like. They're going to want to actually make the profit off it. How do you market it to us? How do you find us?
Are you interested in an internship? No, really. The initial strategy actually is going to be that I'm going to essentially phone bank every professor at GW. And I'm going to be like, hey, I'm adorable. I have a startup. I'm a student. Help me out. I want to save your kids money. And please, please let me come talk to your students and tell them about what I'm doing. And I think that is actually our initial, extremely sophisticated go-to-market strategy.
Great. Farhan, thank you very much.
Thank you.